Hey there, Dream Chasers. This is Hannah Pride, and welcome to Pride and Shine, the podcast where we explore the influencers and innovators of Dubai. Proudly sponsored by Pride Migration, your dedicated partner to make Dubai your reality. Welcome to the show, Jamie Barr.
Thank you for having me. I'm ready to pride and shine.
You are the shine. So for people that don't know, Jamie is the founder of 752 agency, which is all about branding, website development and SEO marketing. We're going to delve into the story on how you brought this amazing company over to the country.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. So tell me, you moved over here 4 years ago now?
4 years nearly I've been in now, yeah.
It's crazy how fast it goes.
Flies by.
Genuinely, you blink and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, we're nearly 4 years now.
It's crazy. And what made you come over here? How did you get here in the first place?
Complete and utter chance. So obviously, I've had 752 for nearly 10 years now. We're based in Manchester. COVID hit. Everybody had to work remotely. Without going political, I had my views on COVID. So one day, I decided to get in the car, middle of COVID, and drove back to Spain, which is where I'm from originally. So obviously, I was living out in Spain. Lockdown came. I'd been there for a few months, hadn't seen the family. And after Christmas, my mum said, let's pick somewhere to go on holiday where we can both go. I'd never been to Dubai before. So we came on a 2-week holiday to Dubai. The UK put it on the red list to go home after 5 or 6 days.
Oh no.
Spain wouldn't let me back in.
You're red list?
Yeah, exactly, because I wasn't a resident. So I found myself in Dubai on my own. I knew 2 people. And that was 5.5 months later, was the first time I left.
It's the exact same story as me. I think so many people done it, and a lot of the people that did do that have actually stuck it out and ended up having flourishing businesses and moving here and loving it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was complete chance. There was no long-term plan. In those early days, I'd gone from spending lockdown in my beautiful place up in the hills in Spain, greenery, countryside, not a building over 4 floors. I came to Dubai, I remember, stayed in JBR those first few weeks, and I thought, what the heck is this?
You're like, help.
I was like, get me out of here. And then little by little, it was a slow-burning love story.
I can imagine. So did you find it then quite easy? I'm guessing you were working from your laptop. You just guessing Smoky Beach was probably one of your spots that you sat at, worked from?
Yeah, I mean, it was in them early days, it was different because obviously COVID was going on. The team in the UK were working remotely. We were very fortunate that obviously a lot of businesses in the UK got decimated by it. We actually grew in that period because what we found was a lot of traditional retailers, businesses, etc., were having no choice but to go online to cater for online deliveries, home deliveries. So we were lucky. So yeah, it was literally, I was working UK hours, getting up at lunchtime, working at UK hours, and then usually staggering my way into blah blah back in those days.
Going down the slide at night on your way home.
Exactly, that was the life. Yeah.
And then what made you actually decide, right, do you know what, I'm going to stay in Dubai, I'm going to integrate and grow the business here? What was that final straw?
The main thing for myself really was that when we started to, I'm a big believer in I don't like remote working. Mm-hmm. In our industry in particular, it's such a collaborative process. Whether it be, if we're doing the websites, there's people working on it, there's got to be ideas coming together. If you're working on a brand, marketing campaigns, there's so much collaboration. Doing it remotely, what you can achieve in an hour takes you 4 to 6 hours. So I don't like that remote working model. What we found in the UK was post-COVID and transition out of it, getting people back into the office was becoming a real strain. When you were recruiting new people, first question was always, is this a hybrid role? How many days? People were moving jobs a lot. And I thought, if we have to reassemble the team, I may as well do it here, have everyone with me here. So it was that kind of idea.
Amazing. And do you know what, touching on working from home and hybrid working, how has your team found being back in the office? Because I know I personally love being around people. I bounce off people. Like you said, it's creativity, and I do think people work in such a better environment when they're around them. How did your team at that point find coming back into the office? Did they find it strange? I
mean, being in the office, I'm still yet to find one person who can give me a valid reason why working from home could outperform working in the office. Yeah. With our team, I mean, it wasn't really an optional choice. It's very much you're in the office. The biggest part of our company really is this collaborative approach, which is, we get you a beautiful space, we put a lot on for the team, but it's the idea you've got to share ideas. The person next to you might not be as good as you in one area. you might be better than them, help each other out, train each other, getting people to take, responsibility for their own progress.
And how did you find your office in the UK? Did you shut it down completely, or did they stay hybrid, or did they all move out here?
No, we still got some staff. So we've got a team in the UAE. We still have some team in Manchester as well. Obviously, more and more we've transitioned more and more to Dubai. Long term that will continue, but we still have like a sales team, etc. in the UK, and then developers, designers, marketing team are with me.
That's
in the
amazing.
office, grafting away.
I mean, there'll be no slacking when you're in the office.
Well, we hope that anyway.
So obviously being in Dubai is such a central location around the world. Have you been able to then grow into different countries since having that office base here?
Yeah, I mean, there's been phenomenal opportunities for us in Dubai. Our stronghold is still in the northwest of England in particular. We've been going there that many years. A lot of people know us. We've got a great market there. Within the UAE, we've established a fantastic core business around European business owners. Not necessarily even UAE-based companies. A lot of the European firms we work for, their CEO, the founder, the investor, will be based in Dubai. Yeah. So for them, even though their companies are international, they like having us on the ground. So, when they want to see me, they come for a coffee, we go for lunch. So they actually, Dubai is becoming that hub spot of where high net worth 100%. Company owners are. So they very much like that touch feeling there. Again, we've got clients Saudi, Dubai, all around the Middle East now. So it's great for that reach as well.
It's really good. And especially for someone like yourself that is really focusing on building someone's brand and putting that internet presence, how do you feel that having that one-to-one relationship and being able to actually discuss it in person helps them form a brand?
Yeah, I mean, the relationship we have with clients is the number one thing. In this game, what people don't understand is the biggest cock-ups you make. The only time you really lose money is when you pick bad clients. And, as you get older and as you're in it for longer and longer, you start to realize that you don't take every deal that comes your way. There's ones you've got to walk away from. When you work with the wrong people, it ends up costing you a lot of money. You think you're doing people favors.
We've all done that.
Exactly. And, because effectively what we're doing at the end of the day is trading time for money. So, you've got to be with people who value what you're doing, who value your expertise. All of our business is inbound, because I always say to people, there's other agencies now that are on the phone ringing people up. If you're trying to work with someone who isn't 100% in on what you're doing, there's never going to be a success rate to it.
100%. I completely agree with that, because I think, do you know what, a lot of people miss in all areas of business, whether it's marketing, whether it's buying a property, whether it's doing any part of it, you have to align on every single aspect. And if you don't align on one aspect, you can't sell them the product, because it's the hardest to deliver. If they're not seeing what you're seeing, how are you ever going to come to agreement that you're both going to absolutely love on it?
100%. And, at the end of the day, we are very, very good at what we do, but we are going to suit certain businesses, certain people, certain companies better than others. They get the most value out of us. There's guys I've worked with for nearly 10 years. You could ask them, when they come to me, they can describe what they want in a 5-minute phone call. Or some of the guys, they'll send me 90-second voice notes. They'll turn around 4 weeks later, that'll be the only communication we've had. And they'll be like, that is exactly what was in my head.
Yeah.
And that's just because over the years, I know exactly what they want. Before they've even expanded on it, they couldn't go and do that with someone else.
100%, and it just shows the importance of relationships. When you have new members come onto the team, what do you teach them about relationships and how to form them when you send them out to meet a client?
I mean, look, I could sit here and say I'm the king of recruitment and training. The honest answer is, recruitment's the hardest thing.
It is, especially in Dubai, especially with the different cultures. People don't think about it. When you're in Dubai, they forget to think about the visas, they forget to think about the recruitment process, and they forget to think bringing different cultures and making them collaborate under one roof can be very, very challenging and probably the hardest part of any business.
100%. I mean, it's also the only country in the world where, look, I know everybody tells a few white lies on their CV, but Dubai, in terms of overinflating your experience knowledge. I mean, it is like, sometimes I think it's just a complete fabricated story. Yeah. So in terms of our recruitment process, it goes around in circles and we try and refine it bit by bit. The number one thing that we now look for, and what I've learned more and more, is I can actually, as long as someone's got the base skill, I can usually upskill them in a lot of areas if they're willing to learn, if they've got that intelligence, if they've got that application. So what we really look for now is are they people that are going to fit into our team?
Yeah.
Do they understand our processes? Are they people that, when they come in, are they people that are going to want to better themselves? Because we can turn them into superstars, but not everyone wants to be a superstar.
And that's the thing, I think people miss that company culture and people aligning with your company values is key to any successful recruitment process. They're too busy looking at, oh, well, they've achieved X, Y, Z. They might have achieved X, Y, Z, but if you can't communicate to them and they can understand what you're looking for, you're going to get absolutely nowhere, and it's just going to be pulling against each other.
100%. I mean, some of our highest performing staff are guys who joined us young as well.
Really?
They came in young. They only really know my systems. They're not I think in Dubai in particular, we do find some people come in and there is a bit of a sour taste because Dubai, traditionally, I think there's some businesses, particularly in our industry, which is, why employ one person to do the job properly when you can get two people on a lower wage to half do a job each? Why pay them a fair salary when you can push them as hard as you can to get more out of them? So there's a few people, I think, they're a little bit sour, a little bit bitter, where, when people come in, I'd like to think we treat our guys amazing, we give them every opportunity to grow, and culture is everything. It's
huge. And we were having a quick conversation before this podcast even started shooting, so you can tell I've had a long day. Exactly. Started shooting, that you've been able to grow 400% in 2 years just through, and I'm sure that'll be all down to the foundations of the collaboration and culture within your business. How did you do it?
400% in 2 years.
Well done, by the way.
It's wild. I mean, if you sit here and say, how do you do it? Sometimes it's you strap to a rocket, the rocket's going up and you're just trying to steer it. You're like, but no, the honest truth, obviously I came to Dubai January 2021. When I came here, I think when we first met, I was like a good time Harry.
I think everyone was. We were just so excited. It was like Peter Pan's world, but the people that have survived it, everyone's a different person. Everyone is so focused. They're here to make money. They're here because they want to better themselves, and they put the party to the side.
Oh, exactly. I mean, in those early days, it was very much I knew in my head what I wanted to spend on the weekend, and that was a significant amount.
That was the party
so people say, what's your motivation? I was like, my motivation was making sure I had a good night in February 30 or go down to DIFC. But, came, had an amazing time, and externally everyone's saying to you, you're doing really well, But I think there's that feeling in your heart where you're not achieving your full potential. The weekends were taking a toll more and more as I got older. Yeah. And, it's all well and good saying I'm going out on the weekend, but we all know if you've been out, the weekend here starts on a Thursday, so that's
sometimes
Friday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. So, it gets to a point where you're doing 3 decent days work a week. That's 60% of your time.
It's crazy, isn't it, when you put it down to a statistic like that?
Absolutely crazy. And then, so I made the decision, I've been toying with it in 2022, but at the end of 2022, I went, right, I'm quitting drinking for a year.
Really? And was your fundamental why the business, or was it something else?
I mean, I think there's a number of reasons. Ultimately, it was led by the fact that I wanted to grow my business more. I wanted to be more successful. I felt that was holding me back. There was also the fact that, I was no longer really feeling fulfilled in the going out. I think, you start going out, don't you? 15, 16, and I was pushing 32. It was a bit like Groundhog Day. I was like, we've done this over and over. Yeah.
Dubai becomes small as well. It's the same people each week. What are you getting out of it?
Same people. I mean, I may as well have had a bed at February 30. I was there that often.
Playing shares in the bloody establishment.
Exactly, but I actually remember I'd been in Saint-Tropez in towards the end of 2022, and I'm sat in Nice airport. Yeah. Crazy weekend, and I'm sat there, and it's one of them, you've missed your flight. Classic. You've had a wild weekend. I sat there and I thought, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. I thought, this has just gone on too long. So literally quit drinking for a year. Obviously, everybody says you're not going to do it, which if someone tells me I can't do something, I'm like, I am doing it.
100 times over, watch me.
Yeah, and I mean, really, that was probably the most transformative period of my life.
Really? What was the biggest learning curve? Because it is, do you know what now? So many successful entrepreneurs, and it is actually one of the fastest growing markets that I've read, is non-alcoholic beverages. And so many people have seen the benefits. I've personally not ever done a year. I have done periods of time, but I've never been able to do it on the same time frame you did. What was the biggest benefit you learned other than your business? What did you feel internal?
The biggest benefit to it, and it's a video I used to watch a lot in the early days, because people might say it's not that difficult, etc. I promise you, not drinking for years when you've drank your whole life, is one of the hardest experiences ever, because you actually have to relearn more or less everything. You know, we've grown up in that British culture, people around our age. I'm obviously older than you, so I can't say our age group, but you know that thing, you have a bad day, you have a drink. You're going on a date, you have a drink. You know, alcohol is such a part of our society.
It's a huge culture, especially in Britain. You go to a pub you could go to a pub 9 o'clock, they sometimes open.
100%. But the big thing, there was a video, like I said, I watched a lot, which is self-confidence is built by keeping the promises we make to ourselves. And it's that whole idea that every day in life we all make promises to ourselves. And we might say, you know, I'm going to go to bed at this time. Then we go to bed an hour later. We might say, I'm not going to drink this weekend, and I drink. And each time you do that, your trust in yourself diminishes by a little bit.
It's probably in your subconscious as well, so you don't even realise.
100%. So what you actually start to realise is that when you tell yourself you're going to do something, or when you say you're going to achieve something, you don't actually believe that yourself anymore. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing for me with that was, you know, you say you're going to do something, it's hard, it's not pleasant, it's outside your comfort zone, but you still do it. And, you know, for external people as well, people go, he said he's going to do that, he did it. So it's really that confidence thing. But in terms of what you learn a lot about yourself. But you learn a lot about how to handle situations. Like, you know, how many times have you ever been on a first date and not had a drink? How many times have you been out to a birthday party with 10, 12 people and sat there as the only sober one? There's a lot to learn from it. I can
imagine. And I can imagine it's quite a good social experiment to see how much people change when they have a drink in them, especially within Dubai. I mean, I am starting to see more, and as I said, more and more entrepreneurs especially are really starting to cut back on alcohol, and you'll be one that can really reap the story. If your business grew by 400% in a 2-year period, which is such a short time, how much you've been able to achieve, it just shows that if you put your mind to something, how much more productivity you get out of it and how much it actually was affecting you on a day-to-day basis without knowing.
100%. I mean, people say you learn a lot when you don't drink, because what you actually start to realise is that a lot of the things that you think are great fun are not actually fun at all. Like, trust me,
classic.
Like, you know, you sat in someone's house at 4 a.m. or sitting around chatting shit. You think you're having the night of your life. You're not.
It's awful.
Try doing that sober. But yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not someone that sits there and preaches about not drinking. One of the things you do realise when you don't drink as well is that, you know, just as there's quite a few weirdos who are pissed all the time, there's also a lot of strange individuals who are teetotal. So it's not like you cut out the masses, but I think that period let me find a very healthy balance where now, you know, you can have a drink once in a while, but you're not turning to it on every social occasion.
And do you know what? I bet it's a great conversation starter when it comes to sales, because sometimes I'm guessing you personally don't do cold calls or whatnot, but if you're ever meeting a client for the first time, it's like when someone says, I've run a marathon. Not many people have run a marathon. Well, I can assure you, not many people have probably been sober for a full year of their life and been able to have that topic of conversation that they were maybe being like, Jamie Barr was sober for a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a catch-22. I mean, it's like my mum always said, please don't tell people you're sober. It makes it sound like you're an alcoholic. So I think there is, like you said, opinions are changing, but I think you do find a lot of the time there is still a pressure to drink. People do still think.
And do you know what? At the time, Dubai, it is definitely coming away from that. You're seeing a lot more wellness and well-being structures and businesses and platforms coming to Dubai that people are really, really jumping on and they're really flourishing. But at the time when we came, Dubai was very much a party place. And it still definitely has that party aspect, but Dubai now has something for everyone. It isn't really just party, shopping, work. It's a bit of everything, and you can do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. But at that time, it must have been a huge cultural difference to move country, to then set up your business, to go from drinking to non-drinking, to then be like, what have I done? It must have been like a midlife crisis as such, like a realization, being like, I'm in a different country with no family here, I've got my business here. Like, it must have been hard. Time
and time again, people used to say to me, oh, I could not drink in the UK, but I could never do it in Dubai. As countries go, if you want a healthier, you know, less alcohol-led life, Dubai is one of the greatest places on earth for that. Like, when you are in the party scene or the drinking scene or whatever you want to call it, you miss out on these experiences. But when you actually start to look beyond that in Dubai, there is so many things you can be doing. Like, you've got Hatta, Wadi Shokwa, all these beautiful places you're going to experience. I'd been here for 2 years before that. I'd barely left, like, you know, I think I knew DIFC, West Beach, a bit of JBR. But you go and explore places and you're like, you know, Ras Al Khaimah, Abu Dhabi. Yeah. like this Emirate, like not just Dubai, but the Emirates in general. There's so much to offer, and with the local culture as well. There's all these great restaurants that we never visit because they don't have alcohol, but there's fantastic restaurants down in Jumeirah, places like Free Fills. When you see that part of Dubai, it's a whole different side to it. It's amazing.
It's honestly unreal. And do you know the amount of conversations I've had that how nice it is going to a restaurant and them not offering alcohol and being able to actually have a conversation without thinking, oh, I should really have a drink because it's on the table. There's no temptation. It's just enjoy the food and enjoy the culture. So it is such a nice place. And a lot of people don't realise, as you said, that how many opportunities there are for like community building within Dubai when it comes to paddle, which you play a lot of, golf and all these other aspects that people forget about when they're partying too much and working. They live for the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, look, like that year, I played a huge amount of paddle that year, unsurprisingly. But I did significant deals on the paddle court that year.
I can imagine.
And anyone who knows me, anyone who's dealt with me will tell you I'm not a salesman. Yeah. We pick and choose who we work with. We only want to work with successful projects, etc. So it's not like you're out there trying to sell, because I don't think that ever works, but just building those long-term relationships that you get by seeing people week in, week out on a paddle court. They find out what you do, you build a natural relationship, and then ultimately work comes from it. But yeah, everything, like you said, paddle, golf, five-a-side. Yeah. In the UK, can you do as much of that? Probably not. I
don't care what anyone says. You cannot do. You could do something, an activity, a different paddle community, paddle lesson, golf lesson every hour of the day here. I don't care what anyone says. There's enough apps, there's enough WhatsApp group chats that if you want to find it, you could do it. And it's something I really want to touch on in this conversation is networking.
Yeah.
How do you feel networking is in Dubai? Because you've just touched on such a great point. I don't think we've actually spoken about it. You can network virtually anywhere in Dubai, even on a paddle court. I
mean, networking's a strange one for me because I am naturally, like, even though not everyone will believe it, I am naturally a more introvert person. So, I spend a lot of time with my family, I spend a lot of time with my partner. I'm not really someone who's out and about a huge amount. Do I do as much networking as I should? Probably not. Yeah. But, years ago I did that. Now I'm in a more fortunate position where I'm known for what I do. Things come to me more and more, but the networking aspect here is brilliant. I think one thing that is probably the biggest thing for us here is that the kind of tying into networking, but not directly, is that referral kind of scheme, which is these days my phone will ring and it's just someone who's, they're like so-and-so recommended. You had it the other day, a lady rang me up and it was Gino.
Yeah.
Thinking at first, where's this come from? But, people are very willing to help people here.
It's huge over here. And do you know what I say to people? If you can have a strong enough brand or a strong enough name or reputation within Dubai, your phone will ring at least once a day. Yeah. Because people are so big on collaborative, and it's one of the best things about the Dubai culture is everyone actually wants everyone to do well. Everyone realizes in Dubai that there's enough piece of the pie to go around, and they're happy to help each other. I remember you text me, I really like your marketing, I'll pass you the number, and it's just one of these things. I want all the people that I do business with, associate with, to do well. I don't want to be sitting around the table and be like, oh, you all right? How's your job? Are you a bit depressed there? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I want everyone around me to do well. And if I can share any expertise, experience, people that I know do a good job, I'm happy to have them, take them to the next level, because the better that everyone does around me and the people that I know, the better everyone's going to have lives and futures and being here longer.
100%. I mean, if you do something well in Dubai, there is a real opportunity to grow and develop, because there are people here that are bullshit, and so many. And I remember in the early days when we were here, we delivered a project. Anyway, we'd said it was going to be delivered on Friday the 14th by 4 p.m. Anyway, so at 11 a.m. send the email off. And this woman rings me up and she went, "You said you were going to deliver this on Friday the 14th, and you've delivered it." And I'm thinking, well,
of course.
That's the bare minimum.
I hope I am.
And she was like, that doesn't happen in Dubai. Which is in the UK, if you say something's going to be done and it's not done, everyone's on your neck. But here it seems to be a bit laissez-faire in that. So I think if you can bring those European principles, probably an element of that British discipline, and then team that up with the creativity and innovativeness of Dubai, you're onto an absolute winner. 100%.
And you're thriving. And it is something some people struggle with. And I'm sure you have struggled with bringing your business over here, is that, this is going to be done by this date. And it's not done. These visas are going to be done by this date. This renewal is going to be done by this date. And as a British person, you can come up here uptight and like, why is it not done? Why? But people, sometimes you have to say to them, chill out, it's Dubai. When you're presenting your business and you're doing it with other people, yes, stick to the British culture. But when you have to comply to the Dubai culture, sometimes things aren't done in the right time. And you have to have that flexibility when you move to this country to be like, it will happen. But as the word says, inshallah, we just at a certain time, a rough is approximately.
No, I mean, like you pointed out there are so many benefits to Dubai, advocate is probably the best place in the world to live right now. But when it comes to running a business in Dubai, Christ, is there some challenges you have to go through? Like,
it's hard.
It's like, things that in the UK you would never have to worry about. But here, from company setup to visas to medical insurance, we were just doing some new medical insurance the other week. I reckon I could have done a master's degree in psychology easier than I did that. Like you're thinking, it cannot be this difficult.
It's crazy.
And I think these are the things people forget. And unfortunately, not only do they cost a lot of money here, they also cost a lot of your time. So you forget that in terms of admin and stuff, and it's not always things like people say, put an admin person on it. From the company setup and that, the signatures required, there's your Emirates ID required. It's not always stuff you can delegate.
It is, and it's a thing that is a great conversation we're having, because people don't understand that sometimes in Dubai they are still in the traditional way where they don't want an online document. They want you to be there in person with your Emirates ID, with your fingerprint. Hopefully it will change in time to come, but sometimes it can take that bit of admin and you're like, oh my God, not again. But do you know what? In Dubai, people say it isn't tax-free. It is. There's quite a bit of tax, but they're hidden taxes, I would say.
Oh yeah, I don't think they're hidden anymore.
You've got your 9% corporation tax and everything else in between. And I think it's great that we're having this conversation because people are becoming more aware of it. People used to really advocate that Dubai is a tax-free country and to move here. It is lower taxes, but there are a lot of hidden expenses that are now coming to the surface. But what you would pay in places like Australia, the UK or Europe for taxes, you're getting a far better lifestyle here and a lot more opportunities for these costs.
100%. I mean, look, I don't know what the exact tipping point is, but there's got to be a tipping point on the scale, which is when you hit X amount of revenue or X amount of profit, it becomes financially rewarding to be in Dubai. Below that, I think, there's some people who maybe come too early on their journey, and it isn't, because you've got those fixed and variable costs you wouldn't have in the UK related to business setup, visas, etc. You've then got the cost of living. You could be living in, if I was back in Cheshire, I'd be in a 5-bedroom house driving a Bentley around. So,
yeah, you have to really, I say to people, you have to come to Dubai and take about 5 steps back, because the rent you pay here and everything, you could be living in mansions back in the UK. Mansions.
Living like an absolute king, and that's a big thing that I think people should be more transparent about with people from the UK, which is Dubai is the land of opportunity. It's an amazing place to achieve that, but wherever you are in the UK or wherever you are in another country, be that you're the best businessman in your area, you're going to come to Dubai and drop down the scale. You're the best looking girl in your area, you're going to come to Dubai and be one of the girls, aren't you?
No, but genuinely.
It's true.
And then you have to it then comes to that flight or fight mode, and that's when people, either Dubai breaks you or it makes you. And if you're ready and willing to work around the clock and be like, no, I've came from a very good position in my hometown and I can redo it in Dubai, you're in the best place, because you will excel and you'll probably level up far more than you ever were in your hometown. Because it's like going from a small fish in a big pond, big fish in a small pond, and then coming to Dubai and you're a small fish in a big pond, and you'll always meet someone that's 10 times you.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
you're always like,
yeah, but it's not even at our level. There'll be guys who come over, like multi-millionaire billionaires, and they're probably used to being there. They come here. In reality, there's hundreds of you. It's the same for anyone, but you put it so well there. It is literally flight or fight. And I think every person who's been in Dubai has had those moments. I remember in the early days, sometimes you're thinking, is this the right thing to be doing? I was used to go for a walk around the marina. I'd be on my 30th lap.
Be like, I am okay. Everything's okay inside. Don't worry. I'm just trying to get fit.
Everybody, says how unbelievable it is. There is also massive challenges. Yeah. You're away from home. You're away from your family. You're away from your support network. You're away from everything you know. Yeah. And some things are a challenge. I remember in the early days, I went to register in a Jari, and it never, something that simple to me was the most confusing thing, because I'd never done it before. I rock up at the Menara Centre wearing a pair of shorts. security chased me down. They're like, you can't come in. I'm thinking, why not? You're not allowed in shorts in government buildings. I had to buy the parking attendant's trousers off him. He's still got.
But do you know what? They're the great stories that people don't realise. And everyone, you're not the only person. I know people that have gone from living in standalone houses in the UK to a studio in Dubai, and people don't actually realise that's what happened because they only see, because of social media, the highlights of Dubai, the high life. They don't see what's happening behind the closed doors, the blood, sweat and tears that goes into making their life in Dubai.
Oh yeah, I mean the graft is relentless, but I love working. Like, you know my partner, if you spoke to her, she'd say it's all I ever do. But my business is my life. Beyond my family, beyond my partner, then my business is everything to me. And I think you've got to be like that to succeed. Like, you've got to be prepared. Like, we're sat here 8 o'clock at night doing a podcast. You've got to be prepared to do those meetings, go out. There is no such thing as a 9 till 5 here if you want to achieve any level of success.
Nothing at all. But then what would you say, looking back on your journey, what has been the biggest learning curve or the biggest thrill that you've got back looking far of how far you've come in these 4 years?
I mean, for me, I wouldn't say there's ever really a thrill, because I think everybody knows this. Like, you set yourself a target of what you want to achieve in a month, and our industry is not dissimilar to real estate. You could go and have your best month ever this month, sell 6 properties, right? It means nothing for next month. It's not like you're signing people up on a long-term model where you're going step by step by step bigger. All you do is really, you have an amazing month, you've got to better it next month.
You're as good as your last deal, they always say.
Exactly. So, everyone thinks the bigger it gets, the better everything gets, but really the pressure's there, the will to go bigger. Lessons I've learned. This summer was a good lesson. Really? Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, originally from Spain, I love Marbella's my happiest place on earth. Before everyone digs in, right, my Marbella is not Puerto Banús, so that's a whole different side of it.
It's a nice side.
But Marbella is my happy place, right? When I go there, it's like home. I grew up there as a kid. I know everywhere. And this summer, like we spoke about earlier, changing company jurisdictions, new offices, etc. So this summer was my first real summer in Dubai. So I didn't leave. And everybody says you can't make money in Dubai in the summer. When I get a bee in my bonnet, I can't stop it. So I was like, right, we're going to do it. So this summer we sat there and we did a number of things. We recruited heavily in the summer so we could train them up. We moved officers, we moved free zones. We got loads of stuff done, right? But I was like, we're going to prove that this can work. We ended up doing in August 2024 our biggest month ever across all the different countries. In August. We've never done an August before without a 20% drop.
That's amazing. But that just shows, and a lot of people have said that this year, that I think a lot of people have realised Dubai is a long-term place. They're no longer coming here for the party, coming for a season. They're realising they want to be established here. And I know a lot of people in your position that have maybe been here 2 to 4 years have never ever spent a summer here, spent the summer here this year, and they've changed their life. They've changed their business, they've changed their life, they've hit biggest targets ever, and they've now got a thrill for it. They've now got a bigger drive than they ever had because they've realised that they didn't actually need to go away all those months in summer. Yeah, it's maybe good, but if you're doing the same thing, it's like going back. If you go to Marbella every summer and nothing really changes, why are you doing it again? Try and do something different. And then you'll probably go back and do Marbella in a few years and you have a completely different perspective because you have a new life and you'll have leveled up.
100%. I mean, everyone says you can't make money here in August, but it's very difficult to make money if you're on the beach in Mykonos or on the beach in, Sorrento, wherever you are. Dubai is now, like you said, people are doing big deals here in the summer. There's also an opportunity that, in that month, if you're grafting and you see on your Instagram, well, so-and-so's in Mallorca or so-and-so's in Santorini, you're thinking, well, they're not. Yeah. It's that time to level up, push ahead.
100%. And do you know the thing is, a lot of people, I think, now are realising that Europe and whatnot is so expensive and the safety aspect maybe isn't there as what it used to be, that they're actually proud to be in Dubai and they're kind of seeing that Dubai is like their winter. They're leveling up, they're knuckling down, they're seeing the goals and they're getting ready because it's quite hard to be able to work at 100% while you've got all your family and friends coming to visit, you've got all the networking, all the partying, all the, you have to learn how to say no. There's just so many things thrown at you that sometimes if you're partying all summer in Europe and then trying to do the same in winter, you end up just going around in a hamster wheel, and then before you look at how fast we say years ago, you look back and you're like, I've actually not achieved that much, whatever I set my goals to be, because I've been too caught up in trying to chase everyone else and make everyone else happy.
Yeah, but you're right. There's no there's no of that fear of missing out.
Yeah.
My family were back in the UK. It's the dream. Work all day.
Peace.
Work all day.
Absolute peace.
Eat a bit of junk food at the weekends, get Netflix on. I was like happy as Larry. I'm like, let summer carry on forever.
Genuinely, I feel on winter. And obviously, you've been in Dubai now a few more years. What is your plan? Where are you wanting to take the agency to?
I mean, I set out with a very clear vision at the start of 2023, was it? Which was in a 5-year period, we want to cement ourselves as the best digital agency in Dubai. By all means, people I think get slightly confused when I say the best. I don't want to be the biggest. Doing what we do, being the biggest, is not a mark of success. That is simply a case of, McDonald's are the biggest. Are they the best at food? Yeah. What I want to do is be the go-to person for projects. The biggest thing for me across the board is I'm very strong on my morals, my principles, my values. I like to extend them to the business. I want people to know that we are the best at delivering it. We deliver the best results. We deliver the best service. We've got the best way of treating our team. We give the best training. We are the best to deal with, and that's number one thing for me, really, is just to cement our position as that.
And do you know, the thing is, it's good what you said, because I think a lot of people in business just think they want to be the biggest, and that's how they see success. But at the end of the day, I've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs that have said they made more money and they were more happy when their business was lean to when they actually scaled it and had all these other people to think about. Because when your business is huge, you don't realize that you've actually got a lot more people to think about. Your profits are split far more than when it is just you and a small team, and you aren't able to sometimes provide the best service because your clients can sometimes form into a number, which I personally think when you want to be the best and have that personal touch, you need to know your clients on a first name basis.
100%. I mean, we, like you said before, we've done 400% growth in 2 years. We've done that without a penny of investment.
It's amazing.
So, the company gets bankrolled purely by me. Number one, we do get a lot of investment offers, but I think if they saw the way I operate, they wouldn't understand it, because so much of what I do is based on the knowledge of the market and gut feeling. Yeah. So, in the summer months, I've overstaffed massively because I know that they'll then be trained for the winter months when more people are coming in. But to do that growth without any investment, where you're funding everything from your own profit, people think all this growth, team expansion, new offices and that, you're absolutely caking in the money. I promise you that's not the case. You are putting everything back in. You put everything on the line, just betting on yourself to do it. And it is relentless. And there's times where you sit there and you do think, is it all worth it? But we're in the game for wins, aren't we?
I mean, you have to take a gamble. That's what I always say. And obviously, marketing is such a huge and vast area. How were you able to knuckle in and say, no, I want to do digital marketing, building a brand and building that web SEO presence? What made you choose that industry? So
my background has always been branding. So, branding and websites design is my core area.
And you're really good at it.
I'd like to think so. But yeah, branding and website designs are our core. That's what we did for absolute years. If you see my stuff, I've got people look at it like, some people, they'll see something, they'll say, oh, that's yours, without knowing it's mine, because we design it in a certain way. I like things very clear, very simple to use. I don't try and reinvent the wheel. Yeah. What we found maybe, 3, 4, 5 years ago now was that we actually used to refer to marketing agencies for the SEO and paid ads, etc. And people were coming to us and were just like... Such
a huge industry, and it really boggles my mind, because some people are really good at it and some people are bloody shit.
Oh, exactly. And we were putting it, and the results weren't matching up, really. Mm-hmm. And people were coming back and going, come on, Jamie, please do this for us, do this for us. And there was actually one guy, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago now, and he came to me and he said, look, I want you doing this. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm going to pay you. And it was a nice figure.
It's healthy. Could afford that Feb 30 night out.
No, exactly. But no, I thought to myself, with that money, if we go and spend all of that on the team, we'll be able to get a few more people in capacity there. And we did that. And I mean, the results we achieved back. So we went out, and we recruited the best people with big experience, and we brought them in. And from there, we just kept achieving mad results, really. Across the board, we're up for a number of awards. Amazing. In that area at the minute. And that side of the business has gone mad. And it's something that personally I've become more and more passionate about, in particular because people go and build these great brands or these great websites, and then they sit there, and it's like, if you're not driving traffic, what have you got at the end of it all?
And do you know what? It's a huge thing that people really need to become more and more aware of. And I know I've spoken to many businesses that when they come to Dubai, they're like, oh, how would you grow? What would you do? I'm like, network and get paid ads on, because the more and more people see you on a global presence without you realising, and they know what you do, you're going to get so much more traffic than when you come to Dubai or anywhere in the world actually, and everyone's doing the same thing. How do you differentiate yourself than just saying, oh, well, it's an Instagram page? You need to drive the traffic to the web page, to the business page, so people know what you do.
100%. I mean, you know, the position where we handle a huge amount of clients now, I can still tell you within 1 or 2%, if you went through every client with me now, I could tell you where every client was for this week, for the month, for the year. There is literally nothing in that business I don't know. So I think that's why we achieve those results, because it's like, you know, if something's off, I'm having a sleepless night about it. Yeah. And actually, I had this conversation with a woman the other day, and she said, oh, you know, we do everything in-house because an agency's not got skin in the game. And I just looked at her and gone, out, because I was thinking, like, you know, every single project we do, I've got skin in the game. That's my reputation. That's my livelihood. That's everything I've built. Like,
it shows you're putting the client first. And it shows, and I think that's what a lot of people miss in these agencies, especially when they're outsourcing, and sometimes when their staff are in different countries, is they don't have that personal touch, which you've absolutely aced in this industry. And in a place like Dubai, that's what people want. They want their name remembered. They want you to know what you're actually achieving for the business. So they can call you when they're having a panic attack at 9 o'clock, being like, I've spent all this money on marketing. Is it working?
I mean, even from a selfish point of view, though, if you look like, you know, we could all sit here and go, the client's the most important person in the world. We're always thinking about the client. But from a selfish business perspective, in our industry, but in your industry, in anyone's industry, when you're massively successful for people, they do tell people, well, they tell, like, you know, a limited amount of people. Yeah, of if you cock up on a campaign, they can't wait to tell everyone they've ever met in their life. Like, they're calling their mom's cleaner to tell her, like, something's gone wrong. So you have no choice but to deliver. Otherwise, it's, you know, everything you work for is like.
And do you know what? I'm going to finish it on this. Don't run away from it. Because if you run away from it, that's when you get the worst reputation. In Dubai, it's all about reputation.
Exactly. All over the world.
Yeah, genuinely. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It was really, really great. And yeah, look to see how good the future holds for 52.